William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
Okay.
Good evening. It's 6:35, and this meeting of the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board of Directors on Tuesday, July 8th, 2014 convenes. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes of our prior meeting. Were there any objections, additions, corrections? Anybody wished? Okay. Those in favor of entering the minutes signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The minutes will be already entered as prepared. We have several public speakers, which is our next order of business, and our vice chair will read the public comments instructions for me and everybody.
Good afternoon. General public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each DART board meeting for a total of 30 minutes, and again at the end of the meeting when the 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. Individuals who have addressed the board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that their behavior during DART board meetings is governed by the DART Board Code of Conduct for citizens, news media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent and slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate when you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates that your time has expired.
Our first speaker is Mr. James Murphy. Following Mr. Murphy is Ms. Grace Bond.
Where's the green light? Sean Akbavi, and alhamdulillah. My name is James Murphy. I spent 6 years in Iraq as an Army contractor. I traveled the world. I saw a lot of really world-class transit systems. Dallas wants that world-class status, but right about now they're low man on the totem pole, because the one thing they don't accommodate for is people's needs. You have no restroom facilities. You have no water fountains. You have mothers who need changing stations. You have elderly and infirm could use restroom facilities. The only adequate seating that I've seen at a DART rail is right out front of your office. You complain about a DART driver because he looks at you and he drives away. You call in. Do you want to follow up on that? They never follow up. People are just like cattle. They're being shipped onto these cars, buses, and trains. And just their basic comforts are ignored. And just like Dallas wanting to be a world-class city, until you start to care about your people and your passengers, you're never going to make it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Murphy. Our next speaker is Ms. Grace Bond, followed by John Ellis Jr.
Good evening. I would like to say that I am very, very disappointed on how that DART is treating the operators that have been injured in the line of battle.
Would you just hold on a second, and would you stop our clock, and whenever that noise is stopped, we'll continue.
I'll continue. I'm very disappointed in how DART have handled their operators that have been injured in the line of battle. We are on the front line of this company. We are in the war zone. Yet when we get injured on this job, we are sent back to work with a scab, a bandage over our wound with no proper treatment. And then you have the insurance company intercepting the doctors and telling them to send us back to work with no proper medical treatment, no proper medical attention. And a lot of us are working in pain while we are injured. And it seemed like nowhere out. And even when we tried to go to use our primary care doctor, either our insurance, our regular insurance is Aetna, once a doctor find out that it's a workman comp case, they don't even want to touch it. So where do we go? DART is gonna come a time when you all gonna be up under judgment for the way that you have treated us. It's not right. Even now as I stand, it may seem like I'm all together, but I'm in pain even as I stand. And it have affected every part of my life. Even at nighttime, it's hard for me to sleep. They give you pain pills that you can't even drive with. And it's like, will I ever get out of this pain? It's a continuous cycle. Like I was saying, you got the insurance, Easy Insurance Company are telling these doctors to send us back to work. You got designated doctors making fraudulent reports saying, giving us 0 impairment rating, saying there's nothing wrong with us. Once you attend their office and you go into their office, you already know that they working with the insurance company. You already know that they're going to give you a 0 impairment rating. These are doctors. These are doctors that's supposed to help get us well, but yet they send us back to work. And a lot of us, we working like we working as we are injured. We in pain while we work, and there's no telling when a pain gonna actually hit us, when we gonna have a major accident, and it's gonna be DART's fault.
Thank you, Ms. Bond. Our next speaker is Mr. John Ellis, Jr., followed by Peggy Jackson.
Good evening. I was here back in January, I think, telling you all that I had was denied medical. First of all, you have your ESIS group calling in, telling doctors what not to do and what to do. She's not a doctor. They are not doctors. They should have no part in this telling doctors what to treat and not to treat. I got hurt on the bus. I told you all before. I average 150 hours. Do you think I want to make this little money you giving me on workman's comp? I have a family. I was homeless. I lost out before 8 years, 11 years of service I lost because you all didn't want to treat me. They didn't put no rehire on me. Then I had to fight 3 years to get the 3 years I got now. But you went home and slept at night. I was homeless 1 year and 2 months. Medical. When are we gonna get treated right? I had a torn rotator cuff September. It's still torn. It's probably worse now. Lady hit me on the bus. You worried about if I did something wrong. Look at the film. I did everything right. And then y'all sit here and look at us like we're the culprits. I work hard for my money. And as the lady said before, we are the front line. We get the rocks and the guns and everything pulled and spit on. And we're supposed to react to 5-star service, right? But like I said before, all I want is to be fixed. Fix this torn rotator cuff, take this ganglion cyst out of my hand that's causing me phenomenal pain. I can't even sleep at night. Every 2 hours, I'm taking 800 milligrams. Every 2 hours, I wake up. Pain. But I'm going to leave you with this. Isaiah, I know you don't want to hear this, but Isaiah chapter 10 said, woe to the abusers of justice. Isaiah condemned man-made laws that corrupted justice.
The next speaker is Ms. Peggy Jackson.
Good evening. With all due respect to this board, I'd like to reiterate on a few things that Mr. Ellis and Ms. Barnes spoke on the workers' comp. I actually deal with a lot of it for the ATU, workers' comp, short-term disability. You do have the interference, and a large portion of it comes from the staff here at DART. We had a lady that was put back to work in January because somebody here decided they had concerns she could not get her DOT card. 2 primary care doctors okayed it, yet they stuck their noses in it. They are practicing medicine without a license. Her 2 doctors ruled that she could go back to work, yet this staff here in this building, whom I won't call the name because that's a rule you have, but you don't mind pinning our pictures all over the divisions, but I'm gonna be respectful tonight, so I'm gonna tell you this. If they would abide by the rules, if my primary care doctor says I can return to work, and there's 2 of them saying that, it was no need for anyone to say, I'm concerned, I can't give her, then they don't have a medical degree. Nobody in this building on the 2nd floor that issues physical examinations or to send you for a drug test has a medical degree. That should not be their concern. And it's the same with the short-term disability. We are denying short-term disability for weeks, months. People are out here with no income for 4 and 5, 6 weeks because they don't care about how these people are going to survive or what it takes for them to maintain what they already have. It's a shame that DART goes to the extremes where they allow this to go on. It's interference from your staff, it's interference from management, it's coercement from your managers, it's coercement from your staff. It needs to stop. These people are your front line. They're why you have a job today, you're here today, and everybody else is here because they run this service for you. Learn to appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Our next speaker is Ms. Cheryl and Ms. Cheryl and Samuel. Hello.
Hey, you never shook my hand before. Why you coming up here tonight shaking?
You're shaking tonight. You're shaking too after your speech.
My name is Cheryl Samuel. I'm a 22-year veteran. Just got rolled up a year ago after 21 years because I'm not in agreement with 5-star. See, with your 5-star, it's just like the saying says, they have to start and run down. like the river and be mighty like a stream. It has to come from the top and come down. You can't go upstream, that's too hard. We won't make it. But if it started at the top and filtered down, it'll make it. Well, we had a 30-year anniversary of daughter, am I right? 30 years. And we had an EVP to come out. And one of my members extended her hands to this person, and that person stood back, looked up and down. Well, she extended her hands again. That person looked at her and stood back. Then you had AVPs, assistant AVPs, come and get in front of them like they was her bodyguard. But this same person started this 5-star. So if the person that starts the 5-star ain't 5-star, why do y'all think we ought to be 5-star? But let me tell you a secret. We've been 5-star ever since I've been here 22 years. Because you can talk all the talk you want to talk. You can have the best bus that it is, but this crap you got now is regular. I do the 722. They love me out there. I take care of the passenger. I get kisses and hugs. They want to give me tips. I don't take them, okay? But 5-star have to start at the top and roll down.
Yes, that's right.
No more. I told her from day one, I do not agree with your 5-star and I will not participate with your 5-star because of what she did. Now when you come out, Gary, with your team, y'all stay afterwards and we could talk to you and stuff. But when she introduced it to the employees, she came in the middle and ran right on out. She didn't stay. They said we can't answer no questions till after the meeting. She didn't stay till after the meeting. That was a total of 9 meetings, mandatory meetings that we had to go to. She didn't have enough respect to explain to us what she's trying to do. So the question go back. How can you expect for us to be 5-star? Get rid of all these made up jobs and all this stuff, we'll be back on track.
Our next speaker is Mr. Albert Dearla.
Good evening, DART Board. It gives me great heartburn that every year DART wants to increase our medical premiums, and this year DART wants to increase it by 25% or more. But does DART ever give an equitable wage increase to the hourly worker? No. That's the answer, no. But upper management, I'm not going to mention no names, will get their high raises every year and their bonuses of $30,000. Every year we just get a 3% increase. And if we're lucky, we might see 1% of it because they increased our medical premiums. The importance of our health benefits is because most of DART's working force has a serious health condition. And if you keep increasing our medical premiums, it's going to be hard for us to keep up with our doctor's visits to take care of our serious health conditions because it's too costly. How important are working conditions? Working conditions is real important to the hourly worker. For one, on the transportation side, DART is trying to propose a modification of pre-trip time. They want to reduce it from 15 minutes to 10 minutes. Upper management knows what we go through on pre-trip. It's not just about the wheelchair ramps like they think. It's about taking the bus to the workout for mechanical problems, taking the bus to the mirror station. If we go to, they only have one mirror station per division. And if you get there, there may be someone else using it. You got to wait in line to adjust your mirrors. Reporting body damage to the spotter's booth. Inspecting the bus for Homeland Security situations since mass transit is on high alert. Bus changeouts. Oh, and not to forget, our lots are so huge, it takes about 5 minutes to walk from the station office to your lot, to your bus. Now, a proper pre-trip takes about 20 minutes to do, but we're only asking for you to let us have our 15 that we already have. Because if you do a proper pre-trip, it makes the operator feel good about their bus, it makes the operator and the rail operator feel good about their day, and they will give you 5 stars of service. But if you reduce our pre-trip time to 10 minutes, you won't get that 5 stars of service. You're going to feel bad, you're going to feel unsafe because you're not going to do a proper pre-trip. 10 minutes ain't enough time to do pre-trip like your Vice President of Transportation at DART says it is. Smart drive cameras. Hourly employees are constantly being called back to the back office for nitpicking stuff like 7 miles over the speed limit. A cop won't even give you a ticket for that. Snacking on food or drinking when the bus is not even moving. DART management is imposing a camera policy without meeting with the union. Workers' comp, Sheila Fay. This lady finds every reason to deny a claim or appeal a claim to try to keep you from getting well and getting a full recovery like you're supposed to, going back to work too early while you're still hurt. When talking to Sheila Fay on the phone, she is extremely rude all the time. Oh. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Mr. Kenneth Day.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman,
Good evening.
honorable board members, Mr. Thomas. What you're seeing here tonight are concerns of your employees. And they're hearing discussions about the medical insurance. It's a big concern. We all understand that medical insurance is a problem not only here at DART. It's a problem all over the country. But there are drivers here at DART that's causing the insurance to be a problem. We would like for you to address those. You got employees that like having their perfect records. They don't want a mark on their record. So guess what? If they don't want that mark, they got to go to the doctor to bring in a doctor's excuse. And a lot of times, you know what? They up at 3 o'clock in the morning preparing to go to work. In order to get that doctor's excuse, guess what? They have to go to the emergency room. That's a driver. If you can fix those types of things. And it's also disturbing, as a speaker said earlier, get a 3% increase, insurance supersedes at 3%. While they sit back and watch others get 5% increase. While they sit back and see titles are changed to justify increases. That's a problem, boy. That's a problem. These employees, a lot of the bus operators, they got these drag cam cameras. They're under constant surveillance. There's a policy being imposed on them now that they're being written up if they get caught drinking a glass of water. They don't get lunch breaks. They drive those buses 9 to 10 hours. They don't get a lunch break, and they're being written up because they drink a glass of water. Your medical insurance is a problem because guess what? We don't get to stop and use the bathroom when we want to.
Yes, sir, that's not good.
We have to wait till we get to the end of the line. We don't want to, in no way, make that customer uncomfortable. So we hold it because we don't want to stop in the middle of the route. That causes medical problems.
Yes, sir.
So there's a lot of reasons that your insurance is going up. But there are some things that we can do to address it. This is the beginning of the concern. These employees plan to be here throughout. And we understand it has to be addressed. We're willing to sit down with you to address it. But let's be reasonable about it. Let's be reasonable. And we understand there may be an increase, but we deserve an equitable wage adjustment.
Yes, sir.
A true wage adjustment. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Ms. Hilda Cole. Ms. Hilda Cole.
Okay, the mic's right in front of you.
Thank you.
You can't touch, you want to touch it? You can't reach it there. It's okay. It's okay.
I was coming off the front porch of my stairs, and my foot slipped and hit another step. Next thing I know, I was falling down all 4 flights of stairs. I was trying to catch the rail to get down the steps to go to the bus. As I fell down the stairs, the Dart driver sit there and watch me fall down a whole flight of stairs. She comes and steps over me and tells my sister to call 911. She asked me why didn't she call. So that's what happened. And I've got too many no-shows, so I know I'm gonna get 30 days no-show. So that's what happened. And so I addressed that. But y'all know that's what happened. That's how I fell and got myself hurt. All right.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Douglas will help you now. Our next speaker is Mr. Brian Blanks.
Good evening. My name is Brian Blanks, and I've been driving buses for 26 years. 23 of those years with DART. So you can tell I like what I do. But I want to just touch for a few moments about how what we call DART calls the smart drive has made our life and the driving conditions out there very uncomfortable for the drivers. Because for one, it's a distraction. Now, I'm with the updated times where everybody has surveillance and they say, well, the cameras are there to help for the passengers and you for your safety and all that. All that's good, and I could agree with that. But when there's constant harassment by the manager, calling you back in the back for telling you the camera didn't show that you made a complete stop and all that kind of stuff, that makes life hard on you out there. So now what I do when I get to a stop, I have to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi before I take off. Now I got the guy in the back saying, hey, what you waiting on? Light green. You know, all that kind of stuff. Stopping at stop signs, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's causing me verbal abuse because I'm trying to keep my job. Yeah, I have family to feed, so I have to try to abide by how y'all want me to drive. Now, change my whole lifestyle, the way I drive a bus. When I've been doing this for 23 years at DART, got 20 straight safety awards, straight. I'm an instructor for 15, 16 years, taught people how to drive. But when you get constantly harassed, and the management, they know. We have to read our schedules to know the time, where we need to be. where we going, the directions. They tell me, we'll pull over and read. You know, so every time I pull over, I gotta read something. That's down. I get to the train station, train take off. That's because I had to count three seconds before I take off every time now. So there goes my 5-star service out the door. So, like I said, we with the times, we with change, but we don't like this harassment of calling us in the back for every little thing. Because I'm quite sure on maybe everybody's job, if I sat there and watched you 8 hours a day, you gonna do something you probably shouldn't do. If I just constantly watched you for 8 hours. So like I say, let's just try to ease up, and our job is stressful enough. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Mr. Christian.
They say you can't wear their shades, it's too dark.
Work with me a little bit. Good evening. Hello, board, chairman, president, to DART employees. It's a shame for the reason why we're here today. We come here because of something you did. At 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we're on our way to work while you're asleep. At 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, we're on that bus while you're asleep. At 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, we're on that bus while you're asleep. At 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, we're on that bus while you're asleep. But see, that's not our issue. See, we don't have a problem with doing our job. We just hate being told what to do when the person doing the telling can't do what we do. We get done at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Then most people get done all day long, but we don't complain. We got to go with the assaults day in and day out. When you got passengers out there calling bus drivers nigger, I know you don't like it. I don't like it. But then when we retaliate, then we got a problem. You want to suspend them or you want to fire them for something that they got to go through day in and day out. See, last time I checked, neither one of you drive the buses. See, my issue is we are the heart and soul of this company. We #1 in the rail in the world. That speaks volumes. We #5 on the bus side in the world. That speaks volume. But we don't complain. We get hit with this 5-star. Last time I checked, every person on this board done been in a 5-star hotel. But I'm willing to bet you didn't go in there empty pockets. Because if you go in a 5-star hotel and ain't got no money, you can't sleep. If you go in a 5-star restaurant and ain't got no money, you can't eat. But if they get on that bus without any money, they can ride for free. Not because we want to, it's because it's to protect us from them. Because the simple fact, we want to get there from point A to point B without any problems. See, you don't have to get on the bus and go through what we go through day in and day out. Period. You don't have to do it. Your families don't have to do it, because if your families had to ride that bus or ride that train, see somebody having sex on the back of a train, see somebody on the bus smoking weed, rolling up blunts, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't tolerate it, but we have to tolerate it. We talk about the smart drive. That's an issue within itself. Now, when you brought it in, when you told us that you were going to bring it in, we didn't have no problem with it, because you told us, Mr. Bell, Mr. Newby, indicated in all the mandatory meetings that, hey, it would be used for training and retraining. Now we got people that's been suspended for something that you said would be used for training and retraining. Now, here's my objective. See, they talk about the speeding, Mr. Thomas. They talk about not coming to a complete stop, Mr. Thomas. But this is what they're doing. They're doing what you can't do. They're taking the customers from point A to point B and trying to get them there so they can catch their train or their bus. Now, how important is it to you now, just like the young man said? If he got to stop and say 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, they're not gonna make it. Now we gotta wait on them to call downtown, and now we gotta wait and go get with management and find out the reason why we got issues with not getting at their time points. See, everything we do is about time points. Mr. Thomas, only thing we ask you to do is do what's right. We ain't coming to you asking you to lie, cheat, or steal for us.
Mr.
That 5-star, yes, sir.
Mr. Christian,
I understand.
your time's been up
Okay,
a
I
while
understand.
ago.
But that 5-star is not gonna work. It didn't work in New
Christian?
Jersey, it's not gonna work here.
Mr. Christian, thank you for your comments.
I appreciate you.
The public's comments are to be for the first 30 minutes of the meeting. We have some agenda items, and we will return to two more speakers. Mr. Carazales?
Yes.
Items 3 and 4 came through your committee. Could you introduce them?
Yes, Chairman. Items 3 and 4, award of contract for the 15-year rebuild of light rail vehicle Bombardier traction assemblies. And item 4, contract award for light rail vehicle integrated gate bipolar transistors came through my committee as well, the Operations Safety and Security Committee, and they were moved forward to be approved by the committee, by the board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, say no. That motion passes. Mr. Velasco, could you do item 5?
LGC bylaws came through the local government committee and passed unanimous, and I this time move for approval.
All those in favor, please signify so by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, signify by saying no. The motion carries. Dr. Christian, item 6 came through your committee.
Mr. Chairman, before we take that matter up, I'm going to recuse myself as my law firm represents the party who the agency is going to contract with.
Okay. Show that Mr. Wageman recused himself. Dr. Christian, item 6.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Operation Property Insurance Policy came through the Committee of the Whole, and it was passed. And tonight I move approval of the contract for Operation Property Insurance Policy.
And second by Ms. Thank you. Ms. Kraus, all those in favor, please signify so by saying yes.
Yes.
This one's broken, sir.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. That motion carries. Ms. Gates, items 7 and 8 came through your committee.
They did, Mr. Chairman. Item 7 concerns program modification request for the City of Plano's LAP Assistance Program, and item 8 is the authorization of sale of the DART-owned barrier transfer vehicle machines, also known as the ZIP machines. These two items were approved by the Planning Committee, have been approved by the Committee of the Whole, and I move their approval this evening.
That motion has been made and seconded by Mr. Slagle. He's back. That motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of items 7 and 8, please signify so by saying yes. Yes. Those opposed, say no. Items 7 and 8 pass. Ms. Wilkins, item 9 came through your committee.
Mr. Chair, before you take that vote, I would like to recuse myself from item number 9, please.
Thank you very much. Would the record show that Ms. Cross has recused herself?
Okay, item number 9 is a same-night item. We discussed it in committee earlier today, and it was approved unanimously. We discussed it again in committee of the whole, and is now before the board for final approval. And it's a contract award for CMGC pre-construction services for SOC 3. And I move that we approve this item.
Motion made, seconded by Mr. Flasco. All those in favor, please signify so by saying yes. Yes. Those opposed, say no. Motion carries. We return back to the we return back to the public comments. Our next speaker is Ms. Martha Yemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I'm here about customer service. It has nothing to do with the bus drivers. Majority of them are very kind. I love some of them myself. But I'm talking about customer service where we used to, the customers themselves who pay for the tickets, that we used to have free bus fare because of the ozone or the heat, or maybe because of the weather being too cold where we had to stand out there and wait on the bus due to the lateness or whatever. And if not, maybe if we cannot have the free fare day, maybe we could have maybe $1 for the all day or something. And also customer service, because due to some of the irate customers, which is the customers who buy the tickets myself, we're not after the bus driver. And of course, they understand some of them, they go through so much because they know people are getting off from work, looking for a job, and dealing with children on the bus. I seen 2 kids that one fell on its rear end and one tripped because of the bus that goes up, where you have to step up on the bus to go to the back, and that's the kind of bus it really isn't child friendly. And I hate it myself because I forget that I had to step up on it too to go to the back or to the middle part of the bus. And it is bad when you do have your children in the strollers and they're asleep. I mean, you know, you have other kids too. It's hard trying to fold that up. And yes, they will have a bad attitude because they have to deal with children. And that's the same with you. I mean, and it's hot outside or whether it's real cold. And I appreciate DART do something about that and be more customers, do more in customer service for all of us. And also dealing, of course, again, where they can give back to us again like they used to in the past, where we did have free fare day or maybe $1 a day for the all-day ticket. But to the bus driver, they've been very, very kind. You may have maybe 2 out of 100. Naturally, everyone isn't picture perfect. You may have 2 out of 100 who are not nice to people who would shout at someone, but majority of the time they're very nice. It's mostly DART where it's come down to the buses and also for the free fare. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. William Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the chairman, the board, the executive staff, employees, the ATU Local 1338 officers, members, friends, visitors, and neighbors. Mr. Chairman, I am here again. I was here last meeting. I have to give reverence to God for this golden opportunity, because I am a sinner saved by grace. I know we didn't come down here to have church this evening, but I got to tell you that. I am a sinner saved by grace, and I'm somewhat like Paul. I am one of the chief of sinners. But I came this evening not in behalf of myself. God worked in mysterious ways. Now, when I came in, the devil has been on me all day today because I wanted to come down here, and because the issue that I had that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about it. But when I entered the property and found out what was going on, I put mine to the back. I thank God for the heart that He's given me to do such a thing. And I want to say, Mr. Chairman, you have a problem here. I was once a part of, I still am to a certain degree, I'm retired, but I'm still a part of this. Back in the 80s, it was rough. I urge you and the board, the executive staff, to look into these situations that you have at hand, because it gives me heartburns. And I'm out there, I'm not driving that bus every day. Of course, I ride the bus, I see a lot that's going on, but then it gives me heartburns too, Mr. Chairman. Benefits, passengers, yes, I know what they'll do to you out there. They'll knock you out of that seat and laugh about it. I've been through it, Mr. Chairman, board. I've been there. I know what it's all about. We urge you to take a look at these things that are going on out there. And please, we don't mean to be disrespectful at all. What we're saying is the living truth. God in heaven sees all of this. He knows all about it. And I'll tell you what, there will be a day of reckoning. I know that. There will be a day of reckoning. And I challenge anyone, employees, union members, board of directors, I challenge you, go home tonight and read St. Luke 18 chapter 1 through 5. That will let you know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Can anyone speak? That concludes the public comments. There are no other speakers. We have no further business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Ms. William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We love comments. If you don't like the way Dart is handling things, lay it out for everyone to see. If you like or hate this video, tell us. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, tell us. We even love it when you call. Better yet, like or follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube and get instant notices